with one of the Klitschko's later this year.
I agree. I think Adamic's going to go in there. I think he's going to slowly pick him apart.
Mm-hmm.
And, I like him with the Klitschko as well.
You know what I like? I like that he wants to fight a Klitschko.
Yeah, I
you
do
know, there were
too.
some reports that he turned down a Vitaly offer, and I think that was more based on timing. You know, when you're in a training camp for a fight.
Right. It makes you ask the question, do you think Chris Ariole maybe fought a Klitschko too soon?
Yeah, exactly. And I think Adamic's people, they're doing very good with him in this heavyweight campaign. I like if he gets through Michael Grant. I like early 2011 getting him in there with Vitaly or Vladimir, because let's face it, David Hayes not going to fight them, and give me another heavyweight that's going to be exciting. I like the fight, and I think it's a good fight to buy. It's $29.95 on Integrated Sports Pay-Per-View. You're going to have a nice crowd in New Jersey. That's where Adamic draws very, very well with the large Polish community there. I think that it should be a very, very good fight, and that's this Saturday night. Tomas Adamic making his 4th fight at heavyweight against the big Michael Grant. Should be a great fight.
And in MMA coming up, August 21st, Strikeforce, we've got King Mo versus Fei Zhao. King Mo's actually got a perfect record.
Yeah, he's 7-0. A lot of people seem to like this guy. I'm wondering, will the Strikeforce bad luck streak continue? I mean, it wasn't Friday the 13th. That was this past Friday with a terrible Strikeforce
Which we're
show.
going to get into in a bit here.
Yeah. And Andy will pick that one apart. But Strikeforce seems to put all their chips to the center, and they put everything on one guy. They did that with Kimbo.
They did it with Fedor.
They did it with Fedor. They did Gina Carano.
Now they're doing it with King Mo.
And even they signed Dan Henderson. Dan Henderson, Jake Shields plows through him. King Mo, they're trying to really pump up as their next big thing.
Here's the weird thing. James Toney's he's training with King Mo right now.
Yeah, apparently he
choked him out or something. And James Toney didn't even know the move he used on him until he said a reverse, and then he said a rear naked choke, which was correct. But I mean, that's just how. Not to jump on James Toney here real quick, but I don't know. James Toney's in the MMA. There's a huge, huge difference between MMA and Strikeforce. I don't. If I was in James Toney's corner, I wouldn't be having him train with King Mo. I mean, maybe he could go into the UFC. I don't know, but if he's following the fashion, which all the other dudes that Strikeforce puts his chips into, it's just like being on the cover of fucking Madden 09 or Madden 08, or you're bound to fucking
exactly.
You're bound to fail at some point in some dramatic fashion. But whatever. That fight's coming up. We're gonna watch it.
Should be action packed. A lot of people like King Mo. And from what I've seen of him,
he's getting some fanfare for sure.
Yeah, well, from what I've seen of King Mo, he seems like he could be the real deal. I don't know though. We don't know how padded his record is with some of the guys he's fought before. The record looks good.
On my iPhone, I've got an MMA application. You can go on there and look up King Mo. It says his wins and losses. It only tells you 2 or 3 dudes he's beat, and the other ones it quite literally says unknown. So you don't know. I mean, there's a lot of hype behind this dude. He could be the real deal. I've seen him a few times. He looks good. He looks tight. He kind of reminds me of John's Bones Jones for some reason. That's not just because he's black.
I think it's a good fight to tune in to watch. If it was on pay-per-view, I don't think you buy it. But I think if you have Showtime, you got nothing else going on, you tune into it.
TiVo it. Watch it Saturday.
It's going to be a good. It's I don't know. Should
is it on Saturday or is it on Friday? What's August 21st?
It's Saturday. It's going head-to-head with the Adamic pay-per-view.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so whatever. Let's TiVo it. Watch it on Sunday morning when you're all hungover from watching pro boxing.
This is about how excited I am. I'm gonna watch the Adamic fight live, and then after, my DVR, I'll pull up that fight and see it.
Right,
it's not the most important thing you'll watch this Saturday night, but it's good enough to check out.
And that's going to lead us into our next segment because our attitude towards Strikeforce is, I got to be honest with you, unless there's a really big fight happening, Strikeforce is terrible.
Right,
it's terrible. This last Friday the 13th, these fights, everything. How it was set up, it was just terrible. Cinematographic quality was terrible. The refs were terrible. The fighters were terrible. The fights were bad. I don't like to see a woman get punched in the face.
Yeah, I mean, athletically, I definitely respect, you know what I mean, these women getting into the,
of course,
getting into the cage. They're doing something. I think that they have, good intentions. I think that they're great athletes.
Right.
And I do, if you really, really, really want to make something of yourself as a fighter, I like it that these women do have an outlet to do that, and they do have an opportunity, to make some money doing this. But just as a spectator, something about it turns
It's
me off.
It's very unsettling.
have these-
I don't like. It's unsettling to see a woman
Yeah.
get punched in the face. I don't like it.
They're
I'm
coming
not.
out with
and
makeup.
Let me. It's unsettling to me.
I don't think that it's wrong. I think that it's fine, and I think that it's good. But my question is, how many fans are watching it? How many young women that are training in mixed martial arts are taking a lot out of this? Because I think that there are some. I think you have a higher population of viewers that are men that are almost looking at
18
this
to 34.
like a fetish kind of thing. You
Yeah,
have
it's
the women
very,
in
very
makeup
strange,
and
man. Yeah, because they're
something
showing
about that
up.
turns me off.
Yeah, it really does. You see Randy Couture in the ring. He looks, 93% the same outside of the ring watching a fight. The
Right.
only difference is he's got a shirt on, a button-up shirt on. And if you see any of the Strikeforce women in the ring, they've got their hair done back in braids. And you see them outside the ring and they're watching, a performance. They're all done up in makeup. It just seems very gimmicky to me. You know what I mean? They're trying to do Strikeforce is trying to do the duality between some hot chick is also beating up another broad, and that's where we're crossing the fetish line. What you were just talking about,
Right?
And that's where it gets gimmicky to me, and I don't like that. This is supposed to be a sport, and I don't like to see Strikeforce turning it into WWF. So, and that's why we brought Andy F. Crow in here to talk about that today. Thanks for coming to the show, man.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
No doubt, Andy is a formidable MMA analyst. He prophesized the fall of Fedor Emelianenko by way of Fabricio Verdum. And, man, we're here to get your take on Strikeforce, essentially.
Cool, man. Yeah, I got a lot of things to say about Strikeforce.
Good, and I know that you're on the same page as us.
Definitely.
So let's get to it.
This is the deal. Okay, they were the first ones to have the female headliner thing, and they're really trying to push them having the females in the sports.
As a testament to that was this
Right.
last fight where they had three.
Right. There was an old fighting league that called the IFC back in the day. I don't even think they're around anymore. They had girl fighting on there too, and Strikeforce is really trying to kind of push it. They were the first to have the female headliners championship thing going
Gina
on
Carano
there.
versus Cyborg.
Right, and this is kind of where I stand on it. I agree. It's not that they're not capable, of competing at the level. I mean, because they're training and they're doing it and all that. But the deal is kind of like watching WNBA. The
Right.
female basketball players. It's boring to watch. You want to see the big guys out there smashing each other. You want to see the steroid dudes.
Right.
You know?
I'm not giving women shit here. I just want to make that clear.
No, but
am I correct in saying that since they've had women fighting now in Strikeforce, there hasn't been a knockout?
No, there hasn't. Well, there was the TKO with
The technical
Cyborg
knockout.
There
hasn't been a knockout, though.
Right, and they say that
I don't even wanna see a
women can
knockout.
women can take insane amounts of pain.
Right,
and that's
birth.
another thing that just kind of makes it awkward too. Is that
Yeah.
the women they don't want to quit. They don't want to be the girl who got beat up, so they will just sit there and get their
Take a
face
beating.
beaten in by this other broad.
Don't you agree that the
Is it wrong to say broad?
Yeah.
I mean,
No, you can say broad. It's okay. This is a right-wing program.
all right, good.
Not really, but anyway, don't you think the refs? I mean, so that's one aspect of Strikeforce that I don't care for. I don't like to see a
Right,
woman
yeah,
get hit.
that's one thing. I think they're kind of trying to push in that direction a little. They're trying to have something that the UFC doesn't.
Right.
But I mean,
At the same time, they're taking from the UFC where they're taking fighters who say
they
were
are.
signed
But
to
if you look at the recent fights there with like say Joe Riggs in this last one, these are guys that left the UFC because they were getting pounded on by they weren't able to compete at the level.
Right. They were fighting
that the
elite
newer
guys.
Right. They were fighting the best of the best that are in the UFC right now. I hear people saying Strikeforce, they got the bigger paychecks, all that.
True.
It doesn't matter to the UFC guys. They want to fight the best guys in the world.
Right, they're true competitors.
The real competitors, and those guys are in the UFC. Strikeforce is taking, the has-beens from UFC, and I'm not taking anything away from Joe Riggs or any of the guys that are out there. He was great in his day, but he is not able to compete at that level
He's
anymore.
past his golden years.
Right, exactly.